All right, let's talk about something fascinating. We're going to explore this wild connection between something we use every single day, our grammar, and one of the biggest, most complex parts of being human, our own happiness. We're about to see how the simple rules that turn good into better might actually be the code running the entire operating system in our brains. Okay, so here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll look at that built-in drive we all have to compare things. Then, we're going to dive into the nitty-gritty of grammar itself. From there, we'll uncover a really surprising paradox about happiness, see how it all plays out in the world around us, and then finally, we'll try to figure out what better should really mean for us.
So let's start with a feeling I think we all recognize. You know that little voice in the back of your head that's always kind of whispering, is this it? Could it be better? It's that constant nagging impulse to measure what we have against what we could have.
I mean, it's one of the biggest questions about being a person, isn't it? You hit a goal, you buy the thing you've been wanting, you get the job, and for a minute, it feels fantastic. But then, pretty quickly, we find ourselves looking over at the next thing on the horizon. So why? Why does that happen? Well, what if this constant search for more isn't just a personality flaw? What if it's way more fundamental than that? The idea we're digging into today is that this impulse is actually baked right into the structure of our language, the very tool we use to think and talk about the world. So let's zoom in on the actual mechanics of how our language does this. It really all boils down to a specific type of word that we learn when we're kids, but whose real power we almost never stop to think about. First up, you've got your comparative adjectives. Think of these as the workhorses of comparison. Words like taller, smarter, more expensive. They exist for literally one reason, to measure the difference between point A and point B. And then you've got their more extreme cousins, superlatives. This is when we're not just comparing two things anymore. Oh no, now we're comparing something against the whole group. We're looking for the absolute top or the absolute bottom, the tallest, the smartest, the most expensive. Now, the rules for making these words are usually pretty logical, right? For short words, you just add or est. Tall, taller, tallest. Easy. For longer words, you stick more or most in front. Important, more important, most important. Pretty straightforward. But, and this is where it gets really weird, the most basic, fundamental words we use, like good, they just don't follow the rules. We don't say gooder, we say better. This one little grammatical oddball, this irregularity, is the key to this whole story. So, how in the world does a weird grammar rule connect to our happiness? Well, this is where we see that tiny language quirk just blossom into this profound psychological truth. That drive to find what's better has a really surprising side effect. This is the core idea right here. These grammatical tools aren't just stuff we memorize for a test. They are the actual software that our brains are constantly running. Every time we pick a product off a shelf, or think about our career, or even choose a lane in traffic, this deep-coded instinct to find better, faster, easier is running in the background. It is our default setting. And hey, this isn't just some fun theory. Recent research out of Princeton actually modeled this and found this exact trade-off. On the one hand, our built-in comparison engine makes us incredible learners. It pushes us to get better. But the price we pay for that is this constant, low-level dissatisfaction. We get used to good things almost instantly. That's called habituation. And our focus just immediately shifts to, okay, what's next? The lead author of that study, Rochet Dubé, he put it perfectly. Because we're never fully satisfied with what we've got, we are always motivated to go find something better. You can see how that's a huge advantage for evolution and survival, but maybe not so great for our day-to-day sense of peace. And this brings us to an amazing metaphor for this whole thing. Something that seems so connected, but has a way deeper story. Okay, get this. As a totally mind-bending aside, the Farsi word for better is behtar. It looks and sounds almost exactly like our word, but linguists have confirmed it's the 100% coincidence. They evolved from completely different ancient roots. Just like the link between grammar and happiness, the real story is way more surprising than it looks on the surface. So here's the crucial point. If our brains are wired for better, what does that do to the world we've built all around ourselves? Well, for one thing, our entire consumer economy basically runs on this engine. Advertising constantly speaks the language of comparison, doesn't it? It's always about the newer model, the faster internet, the better experience. It's designed to poke at that deep-seated drive to keep us wanting more. But for a long time now, there's been a really powerful counterargument. And it was famously captured in this book by an economist named E.F. Schumacher, who basically challenged the entire foundation of our obsession with growth. See, Schumacher argued that the philosophy that runs our modern world is bigger is better. It's a mindset that treats the planet's limited resources like they're just disposable income we can spend forever. And he proposed this radical alternative, a philosophy of enoughness, a focusing on well-being instead of just endless expansion. And you can see this small is beautiful idea really taking off today. Just look at the growing interest in compact homes and tiny houses. It's not just about saving money, it's a conscious choice to pick quality over quantity, to lower your environmental impact, and just live more efficiently. And the benefits are not just feelings, they are real, concrete numbers. An energy-efficient compact home can slash your utility bills by a staggering 50 to 70%. It's a perfect real-world example of how pushing back against that bigger is better instinct can lead to some really tangible improvements.
So after all that, where does this leave us? I mean, we've gone on quite a journey, right? We started with a simple grammar suffix, er, and we've traveled all the way to the psychology of happiness and even global economic theory.
It's pretty clear that this instinct for better is this incredibly powerful force that's working on us from all sides. Our language gives us the blueprint, our brains provide the engine, and then our whole society just slams its foot on the gas pedal. Which really leaves us with one final, and I think pretty powerful question. Knowing that our brains are kind of wired for more and that our culture is designed to fuel that wire, can we consciously choose a different path? Can we use this awareness to get better at just being happy with good? That's a thought worth hanging on to.